Hey guys, good morning. Look at that. Got a little bit of couple of warm days, more rain than warm days. Been raining a lot. It's about 11 o'clock. I've been sapping since 8, but I'm out of sap. All the buckets, I started last night and then I just rebooted it this morning. I burned off all the sap from up here at the cabin, so I need to run down and get my barrels reestablished and refilled up, and then we can sap while I work on the greenhouse. I have a little project I want to do. One more sap run and then we can work on the greenhouse. Give me a few minutes here and we will get our project started. I hope you guys are doing good. We're on the uptick here for coming towards spring. It's the first week of April. We need to drive up here so we can start working on stuff and get this monkey off our back, okay? Appreciate you guys. I'll see you over at the greenhouse in a few minutes. Whew. All right, guys. Got my sap from down at camp. This might be the last batch for the year. It's supposed to be in the 40s all this week or all next week, and then barely below freezing. So I don't know what the trees are gonna do. They might keep producing. They might. It might be time to call it quits, which at this time I'm always okay with that. So right now there's still a couple feet of snow down at camp, and now it's getting really hard to move around down there. So a couple of thunderstorms knocking out that snow would be a blessing. So anyway, supposed to get some rain tomorrow. Hopefully that helps a little bit, but I still think we'll still be driving a vehicle back here for another week or two, which is unfortunate. So anyway, boiler's going. I'm gonna work out a project in the greenhouse while I'm sapping instead of relaxing. I'll relax later once I get something done. So today's project involves this area. So I gotta clean that up And put your guesses in the comment section below what you think we're going to do here. Alright guys, one thing I am okay at is eyeballing level. That's pretty level, so pretty happy with that. Let me go show you what I have in the barn, and we'll pick one of the couple options we have. Kind of been accumulating a few things in preparation for this. You guys saw us do a diesel heater, big shop diesel heater video a few months ago, and I was thinking about using that because it's, you know, we're close to the solar bunker, and that can be run on a thermostat. That might be what we end up throwing in there and using this big Sunfire diesel heater. It's a radiant heat style heater, but that's diesel. You know, like, we cost money to run that. But check this out. I got a couple of old wood stoves here. I got one of these little, I don't know what these are called. One of these. And I have this little one you stack on top. This one's really little. To put some really small stuff in there. That's what I was planning on using, is this little one. One, because it takes up less space, and two, because this one leg broke off of, and I was maybe gonna use this in the outdoor kitchen for like a box surrounded by brick to cook on. My only fear is this one is so small. So you gotta put like tiny little wood in there. And it's not gonna have a real long burn time. So in heating a big space like that, we might need to throw some big logs in there and keep it going. So I have a stone pre-made, not stone, but it's fireproof pre-made pad. Do I want to use that? I don't have any other plans for it. I was going to originally put it in the mini cabin if we put a wood stove in there, but it's way too big. Should I dig that out? So guys, I told you my brothers kind of work with thrifting and storage containers. So they find stuff. Occasionally they see something that they think I would really like or could use, and this is where this came from. So let me pull it out here in the sun so you can see it. I think I paid like $30 for this, so good deal as well. So we were going to originally put this in the mini cabin, but the mini cabin ended up being too small. So, and we got a mini split, and that works pretty good. So mini cabins are cool if you get the little tiny wood stoves, but those don't, those suck too. They look cute. You want to put twig, if you want to be a full-time twig inserter. So anyway, let's go put this over by the greenhouse, or in the greenhouse, and see what it looks like. See if we want to use this. Might as well use it, get it, if I had $300 invested in this, I'd let, pass it along to someone else. But since we have 30 bucks invested in this, and I need something anyway, let's use it. So let's get her over there. Alright guys, I'm over here getting some wood for the boiler, and this is a perfect time for me to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, Anona. We've been using an Anona Aurora 4K security camera here in the woodshed for over a year. And we're really excited to work with Anona again because they have a new smart base where we can connect up to 4 cameras to one unit. That smart base has a massive internal storage, up to 512 gigabytes. And it stores your footage locally, and your data and footage is encrypted, so it's even more safe. The Anona Aurora isn't just any other security camera. It's built with 4K Ultra HD, so you get crystal clear 4K resolution for the sharpest video quality. Because we all know grainy and pixelated footage does us no good. You're going to get full color imagery day and night. And the Anona Aurora security camera can be set up with always-on video. So you can get continuous monitoring, ensuring comprehensive surveillance without interruption. And you know what? These security cameras have a hard life, so they're IP67 rated. So no matter what our weather up here in northern Michigan throws at them, they'll work and be safe. So each camera has a 10,000 milliamp rechargeable battery installed in it. So you pair it with their 4.8 watt solar panel, so you have forever power. And the Anona Aurora has built-in AI for multiple object detection. It can utilize on-device AI algorithms to detect people, vehicles, pets, and packages with 0 prescription fees. And it includes a built-in microphone, so you can have two-way communication between you and anyone that might be on your property. Alright guys, so if you are ready to protect your property, outbuilding, cabin, home, check out the links in the description box below and get an Anona Aurora security camera set of your own. There's going to be a great deal for you there in the description box in the first pinned comment. Check for a discount code as well. We'd like to thank Anona for supporting our channel and sponsoring this video, and we'd like to thank you guys for letting us tell you about it. So let's get back to the video. Yep. Looks pretty nice. Should work pretty good. Pretty cool. I want to use that little one really bad. That big one's uglier, but I don't know. It's not going to heat up this greenhouse, I don't think. Maybe I'll just throw regular wood in it. I'll bring them both out here. We'll check them out. We'll try both. Alright, there you go, guys. Look at that. So this is like the air intake. Either screw it all the way down or loosen it up. It's not like where it just opens holes. It opens the whole, like opens the whole thing. Like, see, behind it. Need some bolts to put in here. Right there. And this top can't lift off or fall off. That's pretty cool looking. Yeah? So what do you guys think? It will obviously heat the space, but it's just a matter of keeping it going. And getting the right size wood. I'm gonna go bring that other one over here just for giggles. Like I said, that leg's broken, so I have to put a brick under it, and that's going to kind of make it look ugly. Alright guys, so look how big that thing is. It's hard to see with the lighting, but that thing is pretty big. It's like as big as the whole platform lengthwise. It's obviously narrower, but this would be better for heating the greenhouse for sure. Ta-da! Gotta get some hinge pins. And I'm sure there's something that's supposed to go on there. Doesn't look like it. Supposed to take the little thing from here and maybe lift it up and open it. Alright guys, it doesn't look as cool, but it's going to be way more functional. So, way more functional. So, let's go get a backsplash put on this. Alright, this has been sitting here for a few minutes. I've looked at it. I took this leg that broke up to neighbor John. He's going to try to weld it, do a little research, see if you could weld cast iron with what he's got. He said he's never tried it. So because it's not like a high impact / pressure situation, maybe we'll be able to get that welded. It's like a little 2-inch tab that broke off the leg. So maybe I can get this cinder block out from underneath here. But while I'm sapping, I'm going to try to put a backsplash in here. Or a back, the hearth is underneath, and then the back plate to reflect the heat shield. So this is how we did this. I'm going to show you how we did this in the cabin, the main cabin. Our green metal that's been shielding the back of our wood stove. It's been like that for 5 years. Yes, that metal gets a little bit hot. But what this does, the way I'm going to show you how to do this, is creates a little shield and some spacers, and then the metal gets hot, but it doesn't transfer into the wall and cause any issues. Check out how we do this. I'll show you how we do it. All right, guys. So Obviously, you have certain clearances with wood stoves. UL listed or new stoves will give you that in the owner's manual. This is an old cast iron stove. There's no brick in it. I might get some extra brick and put it in there. But normally you need about 18 inches to 24 inches of space. Newer stoves are obviously double walled on the outside, so your clearances can be as little as like 8 inches sometimes. What we have here is 7 inches. I'm probably going to pull this out a little bit farther even still, but once I put a 1-inch spacer behind the metal and on here, it'll be pretty good. We'll probably, like I said, still pull it a little bit farther away once all said and done. But check this out. I'm going to make my own spacers. I'll show you how I did it. So when we did this with the cabin, we did the same thing. I've got a 1-inch piece of metal conduit here. 1 inch round. We're just going to cut a bunch of 1-inch little spacers. Little chunks. And then we'll put it between the wood and the metal, and then screw through the spacer, the inside of the conduit, at each spot that we screw into the back wall. It would be better to put some hardy board or concrete board behind this. I don't have any, so actually what I'm probably going to do is make those spacers about 1.5 inches. Give it a little extra space. That heat will... That air gap will create enough airflow to keep it cool enough to where it won't cause an issue. This is not advice for what you should do in your house or cabin, but this is what we did in our cabin, and it's worked great for the last 5 years. And we get that wood stove cooking pretty hot, so just not advice on what you should do. Alright guys, the first couple are always the hardest to get going because you got to get the board or the sheet kind of square, and they're hard to get at. I should just move this, but I'm a little lazy. And it's on a brick. It's not just like lift it and move it. So I got the bottom row in. I'll show you how I do this now that you can see from the top. You always want to leave an air gap at the bottom so then the hot, cool air can come up and let it come out the top. But what we're doing is putting 3 rows of 3. I got 8, so I have to make 1 more. But 3 spread out evenly, like every 18 inches on the bottom. Then we'll do 1 every 18 inches on the middle, 1 every 18 inches on the top. And then that will give us a good heat shield. Like I said, we'll probably pull this whole thing out a little bit, and obviously we will monitor it very closely when we're using it the first few times and make sure that no heat is getting too hot on the wood behind this. If I feel like this is getting too hot or we can feel heat on the wood at all, we will take this down real quick, 9 screws, and put some concrete board behind it. But let's just go about halfway back up. Same row. Get a screw started. It's not started in the wood yet. Grab a spacer. And you got your screw sticking out here. Put it on your screw. Put it on your screw. Just like so. And we got about 1.5 inch gap. There you go. So you can see that one more time. There's our spacer. There's the one installed down there. Holds the metal about 1.5 inches off of the off of the wood. There we go. Probably be smart to leave that loose so I can get the ones in the middle row, and then we can tighten them all down at the end. Same thing up here. Make sure we're on the wood. Spacer. I'm not gonna do this one right now because I gotta do these ones and it'll just fall off and fall behind there. So I'll work my way up, that way the spacers don't fall off the top down behind there. So I gotta do just a few more. Pretty cool, huh? Like, you could obviously do 2 inches off of the wood if you wanted. 1.5 inches is more than I did on the other one. Again, that's been perfectly fine. So there is metal behind, or wood behind this as opposed to concrete board, but you know, either way the heat doesn't transfer that distance and through the metal that much. I mean, it might get warm, but it's not going to catch on fire. It's not 1,000 degrees hot. So, and if it does get to an uncomfortable level, we'll take this sheet off and put some concrete board behind there. There we go. There we go, guys. Little at a time. Little at a time. Probably put something over this hole and then put another piece of metal up to this board. And then we'll just bring up the chimney pipe one chunk, then cut it over or out just like in the cabin. The only thing that's going to cause any issue with this whole setup or location is that we're on the downhill side of the roof. So when I come up, either on the outside edge of the building, all the snow that runs off is going to hit that pipe. So we're going to either have to put a diverter or take it, you know, like pop the one piece off, or pop it off, pop off the whole outside piece when we're not using it, something like that. We'll see. Because this is only going to have to be used for, just like the evaporator, for about 1 month a year. Because maybe 2, maybe 5, 6 weeks off and on, because it should be pretty comfortable in here. The only reason we need heat in here is if we have plants and it drops down like below freezing. Which, you know, could be weeks and weeks where it does that, but typically once sapping season is over, it's above freezing, and then it'll just stay warmer in here, even at night. So if you want to germinate plants, you know, you got to keep it warmer, but if we just have plants in here, they'll be a little more hardy than trying to germinate and plant stuff from seeds, so we'll see. But anyway, that's pretty easy. I got a couple pieces of chimney pipe. I'm going to go grab them real quick. Oh yeah, I forgot, guys, earlier I took that leg for the stove up to John, but I also remembered I had these hinge pins in my truck. So that's the 2 pins I need for this door. Hopefully they go back in there. I don't know why they're so bent. I don't know if they'll go in there that bent or if I'll have to fix them. I mean, they both look bent pretty equally, so I gotta imagine that they somehow still fit in there. Maybe they're, wore out. Maybe the hinges are wore out, but wore out hinges is better than no hinges. Ha! It's like a puzzle. I knew it had to be a secret equation. This is an old Sears stove. That's kind of cool, I guess. Like Sears. I don't know. Maybe that everybody. I mean, this. Does that make it not old and Chinese or new Chinese? Is old and Sears still Chinese? Did Sears make everything in America back in the day? Look at that. Pretty cool. Alright guys, I'm due for a break. I haven't sat down and did nothing in all day. It's 4 o'clock, so I'm like trying to capitalize on this nice sunny day. It's not warm, it's at like 34, but at least it's sunny and not super windy, so that's nice. I'll put a couple of pieces of this stovepipe in after I take a little break. I want to just sap for a little bit. We'll put a couple of these in, or one in, and just try to like mock it up. We'll mock it up so we have an idea of what we need when we do other stuff. I've been down past camp like 8 times today, and I keep forgetting to grab that silly fan. I want to see if it fits over here in between these studs. I feel like it's going to be too big to go between these studs. And in a perfect world, you would think, hey, it's designed to go between studs. But I don't know if I made these 16 on center or if I just divided this wall by 3. Plus, it's more of like I think it's like a more commercial style fan, not a home fan, but I don't know. We'll see. Break time. Catch up with you in a few minutes. Alright guys, did 6-inch pipe get bigger over the last 50 to 75 years? This is not going in the hole. Did these, for some reason, I seems like I remember these maybe having like a collar around the bottom, which wouldn't make sense because then, then creosote would come to the outside of it. You always got to put the small end down into it, and it is not going. Like, I could probably put a couple slits in this around it and force it in, But I don't want to do that if there's supposed to be a collar. It looks like there's like normal wear and then rusty. Like there's supposed to be a collar on here. Wouldn't surprise me, but so I also don't have the little handle to like pick these up, but I'm sure you can get stuff like that. So that's about it. That's about the gist of it. Unless I pull this out farther, pull it away farther, then go out that wall. And then I can't go straight up. I can't go straight up because this is plastic. If I could come out here, if I could come through this wall, like go up one more and then over, and then go out that way. I thought about trying to join these two stovepipes, this one and the one for the boiler, and putting the evaporator, put the evaporator over here, and then have this come out, go to a T, and then, you know, like the clean out T or a normal T, and then go up. I think that would work good. That would mean next year this would have to be over here though. So that's that. That's not a bad idea if you ask me. We just have to keep this away from the plastic on the wall and the plastic on the ceiling. So maybe not even go up one more. See how nice these go together? That would be too close to the plastic. So I could always take this piece of plastic down or cut it halfway at this point where, like, that's why I put this window here and I didn't put anything here yet. So I could always cut the plastic off, put a board all the way down here, and then just do this whole wall with some kind of backing. You know, put some concrete, or put concrete all the way up, and then put the metal over it. The more pipe you have inside your structure, the more heat you get off of it. So, we only did one stick in the cabin and then out because I was worried about the outside chimney pipe structure. I wanted it to be attached on the outside of the cabin a couple times so it was nice and strong. People have mentioned that in the past, like, oh, you should put more pipe inside. Well, I know. But because of structural, because I wanted to have a couple of attachments on the outside of the cabin, the out the wall kit and the outside triple wall chimney, I made it come out lower. And that cabin gets 1,000,000 degrees if you let it, so there's no reason to worry that much about an extra 2 foot up. But anyway. But in the greenhouse, we got a lot of windows and not insulated at all. So the more we could keep in here, the better. And that's again why we went with, I think we're going to stick with this bigger stove because we want to heat this space well, not be forced to use little tiny chunks of wood. So I don't know, we'll see. So guys, if you're going to build a cabin, go off grid or do anything, you know, build even like a he shed, she shed kind of thing. Especially if you're out in the woods a little bit like we are, you're going to realize real quick that no projects really get done in a day. Not anything like this anyway, because you always run into some snags and you always got to just kind of like play with it and see what the best scenario is. So you could probably watch 100 videos and figure it out and maybe if you're a little bit better at stuff than I am, maybe you could do it all in one go, but I like to look at things and see how it works. So I think we'll probably end up doing this. Two chunks. Then we're not too close to the roof. We're still 2.5, 3 feet from the plastic up there. And we'll go out that wall and we'll join them together in a T and go right out. I think that's a good option. I wasn't going to do that before because I didn't want to complicate it. But in this case, complicated it might be having two completely different chimneys. So, all in good time, guys. All in good time. So that's today's project. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Got a little progress. Got the base down. Got the stove in. Got the backer board. Got an idea of what we're going to do here. So, appreciate you guys hanging out with me. We'll see you guys in the next video, I hope. All right. Best wishes.